Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode. I am here in downtown Baton Rouge today and kind of got a little double feature for you. I'm going to touch on two different places for you today for all you history buffs out there. As you can see right there is the state capital for Louisiana, but if you look a little bit lower, right there, that's the first place we're going to go to today, and that is the Old Arsenal Powder Magazine, which served as an old arsenal way back in the day for this Baton Rouge area. And I'm going to tell you all about it and which war it had to do with and what it served as and for and all that stuff. So and then part two of this vlog is going to be the Pentagon Barracks, which is basically on the other side of the Capitol from where we are now, and I'm going to tell you all about those too. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. It's a warm one today, so I'm going to try to get this one done without breaking too much of a sweat for you and all that today. I don't want to be all sweaty in your faces and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and jump right in and see what we can get into. Let's go. Hope you enjoy it. Look how pretty this is. I'm walking towards the arsenal, and there's this courtyard right in the middle here. It's just a beautiful, just grove looking area, walkway, lined with crepe myrtles, and they're just beautiful. I don't know if I want to walk through, like, down this corridor of beauty or if I want to walk down this beautiful tree-lined, crepe myrtle lined and oak lined sidewalk here. Like, equally as pretty. I'll just keep on the sidewalk today. But look at this. Simply gorgeous. And check this out. This is a replica of the Liberty Bell. Cool. Dedicated to you, a free citizen in a free land. This reproduction of the Liberty Bell was presented to the people of Louisiana. I'm not going to read through all of that. As the inspirational symbol of the United States Savings Bonds Independence Drive from May 15th to July 4th, 1950, it was displayed in every part of this state. So this bell is from 1950. Wow. This bell is one of 53 cast in France in 1950 and given to the United States government by a bunch of people who were, I guess, sponsors of that. But look how awesome that is. I don't know if the camera's doing it any justice. It's about 4 feet, that bell's about 4 feet tall. Isn't that awesome? Reproduction of the Liberty Bell in Pennsylvania. Man, that's cool. And what a perfect place to put it. Like, right behind it stands the majestic, truly majestic Louisiana State Capitol building, which is the largest and tallest, at least the tallest, state capitol building in the United States. Here's a copy of the Bill of Rights. I'm not going to sit and read through all that either. It's hot today. It's muggy. It's overcast right now, so it's not too bad temperature-wise, but it's still muggy, as you can see here. I'm glad that it's overcast, because if it was like straight on sunlight plus this humidity, it'd be miserable. I'd be sweating already. That's cool. You press the buttons out in there and it lights up to wherever you want to go. So this is the arsenal right here, the state capitol, and it's the Pentagon Barracks where we're going next. And this is the Capitol Annex, I guess. Mississippi River. Oh, check that out, the Pledge of Allegiance in Braille. In honor of George Washington, the father of our country. Again, I'm not going to read all that. I'll zoom in so you guys can pause it and read it if you want to, because I know most of you don't want to sit through me reading all that. It's beautiful though. Very accurate too. Looks just like the dollar bill, doesn't it? a very pretty park in front. So that shower only lasted about 45 seconds, which I kind of expected it to. Look how cool this is. It says, since 1636, the Minuteman has kept vigilant watch over our nation and represents the men and women of the Louisiana National Guard who proudly serve and bravely answer the call of duty. Honored here are those who made the ultimate sacrifice to defend our state and nation. It's really nice, isn't it? Looks like he has a tiller there. Like a farming tiller. And here's the last thing I want to show you guys, which is outside in this beautiful park area here in front of the arsenal. Just a nice representation and tribute to America's military history and soldiers and sacrifice. You see that says homeland, family, with all the different branches on there. Army, Navy, Coast Guard, Marine Corps, Air Force. Flag raising of Iwo Jima. United States Marine Corps, of course. And sacrifice. We all know what that entails. This nice cutout. If you look at the cutout portion in the middle, it's a soldier saluting. That's a pretty clever monument. I like that. Well, pardon the noise, guys. Like I said, there's some landscaping going on, but as you walk up this Indian mound here, now Baton Rouge is known for having multiple Indian mounds around town, notably at Louisiana State University campus. This is ceremonial Indian mound, one of a group of mounds probably constructed about AD 1000 during the Coles Creek culture period. Surrounded by a large village area, such mounds served as foundations for sacred buildings and as platforms for the chief who address the tribesmen. This Aboriginal mound was used in the 19th century as an officer's cemetery for the Baton Rouge Post and Arsenal. Now, I've heard very recently that new research into these mounds around the Baton Rouge area have actually been dated, like core sampled and all that, and dated to most likely about 5,000 years ago. And here's the to honor and commemorate the men who fought the Battle of Baton Rouge in the War of the American Revolution, September 1779, which was the only battle of this war fought outside of the original 13 colonies. That's interesting. Placed by the Baton Rouge chapter of the Daughters of American Revolution, 1940. Wow, so this stone's from actually 1940. The stone supporting this plaque was taken from the original Arsenal building, presented by the Baton Rouge Marble Works. So this is from 1940. And here, see this beautiful lake back there that it overlooks. How cool is that? Here are the cannons. There's one here. See these numbers on here. 48-3-0. Got all these markings on it. I don't know if you can see that or not. Right there. It says SN maybe. Little brass button there or something. I'd say this cannon's about at least 9 feet long. You can see right in there. Whoops, sorry. I'm not trying to bump the camera for you too much. And I really hope that these are from the Revolutionary War period. That would be amazing. I hope they're not replicas from, you know, the mid 20th century or anything. I hope they're actually original. But they do have markings on them that lead me to believe that they would be original. said this is about the same size as the other one, a good 9 feet. Maybe close, maybe 9.5, 10 feet maybe. They're big. And you can see we're standing on this mound here. You can look down, pretty steep. Now the Indian mounds, I might actually do a vlog on the Indian mounds one day, but they're more ceremonial than anything. They haven't found any human remains in there underneath them when they did the samples. I think they did like some, what do you call it, like some scanning or, you know what I'm talking about, where they can scan and like metal detect kind of thing or whatever you call it. And they found animal bones, which leads to suggest that it's only or solely ceremonial and not a burial for humans or chiefs or anything like that. And there's looking down onto the garden. Here's probably the best view of the garden we're gonna get from above without walking through it. And then it's called Louisiana Veterans Memorial Park Never Forget Garden. So it says on the door right there that it's open from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Thursdays. So guess what time it is right now? It's 11:35 a.m. And guess what day it is? It's Thursday. Is it open? No, it's not. Yeah, I'm walking across the parking lot of the Capitol now to get to the other side. Basically the left side or the west side of the Capitol building to go to the Pentagon Barracks. You can watch my other vlog that I did on the state capitol and see all about it. I posted that one, I think, late December, early January. And all of this is in there, including the inside and the observation deck up top over there. And here we are at the Pentagon Barracks, which is just to the left of the state capitol building. And let's see if we can find some plaques and some information. But these barracks also served alongside the arsenal, or served as part of the arsenal, or served in conjunction with the arsenal for the same purpose. Same purposes. Let's see here. Pentagon buildings constructed 1819 to 1822 to house U.S. troops, used as a garrison from 1822 to 1877, except from 1861 and 62 when held by Confederates. Cool. From 1886 to 1925, these buildings and grounds were the site of Louisiana State University. Well, that's very interesting, huh? Built in 1819 to 22. The Capitol grounds have been used as military facilities since the early 1700s. The area was first inhabited by the French after being discovered by French explorer Pierre Le Moyne, Sir Iberville, around 1700. Baton Rouge was ceded to the British in 1763. The British first fortified the area in 1779 and called it Fort Richmond. The Spanish captured the fort in September 1779 in what was to be the only battle of the American Revolution fought outside of the confines of the 13 original colonies. The Spanish renamed it Fort San Carlos. The fort was held by the Spanish until it was captured by a band of armed citizens in September of 1810. This rebellion spawned the West Florida Republic, an independent state. The West Floridians renamed the facility Fort Baton Rouge. Later that year, the Republic petitioned the United States for acceptance into the Union, and as a result, U.S. troops moved into the fort. In 1816, the Fort of Baton Rouge was selected by the U.S. Army Ordnance Department as an ordnance depot. This area seemed the natural choice since supplies could be moved quickly to New Orleans from Baton Rouge, should the former be attacked. A site was selected and plans drawn by Lieutenant James Gadsden, a young Army engineer. Gadsden would later mastermind the famous Gadsden Purchase from Mexico. The contract was awarded to Joel Hill. Hill already was under contract with the Quartermaster Department to build 4 barracks buildings and a combination commissary warehouse building. The Ordnance Warehouse was connected to the Quartermaster Building. These 4 barracks and the 5th dual-purpose buildings made up the Pentagon Barracks. The 4 barracks stand today, but the 5th building was poorly constructed and was torn down the same year it was built. At this point, the fort became known as the Baton Rouge Arsenal and Ordnance Depot. The Ordnance Depot soon grew to be the largest in the South. It served as a main supply depot during the Mexican War in 1847. In 1861, the barracks were captured by state militia forces under Louisiana Governor Thomas Overton Moore. The Confederate Army soon took over. Many Louisiana volunteer units in the Civil War were supplied with ordnance left at the fort. The fort was captured by Union forces in August of 1862 and held for the balance of the war. It remained an ordnance depot until control was formally transferred from the Ordnance Department to the Quartermaster Department in 1869. The post was deactivated on June 6, 1879, and U.S. troops moved out, leaving a single ordnance sergeant as a caretaker. As for Louisiana State University's site, a few years later, in 1884, the buildings and grounds were transferred to the Department of the Interior. Louisiana State University leased the land and buildings from the federal government beginning in 1886, and in 1902, the university was given full title to the property. The Pentagon Barracks were used to house cadets. Post LSU, in 1926, Louisiana State University moved to its present location, downriver from the barracks in preparation for the new state capital. Cadets were housed there until 1932. Co-eds were housed in the barracks until 1950. At this point, Pentagon Barracks were renovated into apartments for LSU faculty and other state employees. In 1931 and 32, other buildings on the old post were razed to make room for the new state capitol. In 1951, ownership was transferred to the state. While some apartments remained, Governor Earl K. Long ordered that some of the space be used as state offices. Some 12 state agencies were housed there by 1966. In 1976, the buildings were placed on the National Historic Register. Today, the Pentagon Barracks are still used as apartments for state officials and offices for state agencies. The office of Lieutenant Governor is located there also. As for some famous visitors over the years, the Pentagon Barracks have played host to many American historical figures. Several U.S. presidents have graced the building in various capacities. Perhaps the most recognized here in Baton Rouge is Zachary Taylor, who commanded the garrison on 3 separate occasions and was post commander when he was elected president. Records also indicate that Abraham Lincoln spent the night here, and Ulysses S. Grant stayed at the post as a general. Grant was also stationed in the Natchitoches area as a young lieutenant. Although not a U.S. president, Jefferson Davis, president of the Confederate States of America, stayed at the garrison as a civilian. Davis had earlier served as a lieutenant under Taylor and then married his daughter. In later years, Presidents Taft and Harding made stops at the building. Many military figures have either visited or been garrisoned here. Captain James Gadsden, a U.S. Army engineer, designed the barracks. Gadsden later went on to engineer the Gadsden Purchase, the last continental land acquisition by the United States, and Confederate Generals Robert E. Lee, Thomas Stonewall Jackson, Albert Johnson, Joseph E. Johnson, James Longstreet, John B. Hood, and Nathan Bedford Forrest were all at one time visitors to the Pentagon Barracks. Union Generals Philip H. Sheridan, George Custer, George B. McClellan, William Rosecrans, and Winfield Scott are also recorded as having visited. General Scott also earlier served at the garrison as an artillery lieutenant. Near to the hearts of many Louisianians are visitors such as General William Tecumseh Sherman, who was the first president of the military academy that is now Louisiana State University. Sherman resigned that position at the onset of the Civil War to join the Union forces. All of his cadets joined the Confederate forces. Incident to Pentagon records as visitors are Confederate General P.G.T. Beauregard, who fired the first cannon shots at Fort Sumter, starting the Civil War. Confederate Bishop and General Leonidas Polk, after whom Louisiana's Fort Polk is named, visited after the Civil War. Polk later became the first Protestant Episcopal Bishop of Louisiana. So walking up to the entrance, you can see these walls and the old brick exposed with kind of a layer of concrete plaster sort of still somewhat on there. Now back in the big grandiose plans of the state capitol when Huey P. Long was designing it and planning to build it and all that, and here's the grounds again. So you can see this is all part of the state capitol grounds. Huey P. Long thought about or suggested demolishing this. And here's the inside. It's like a fortress. But some pretty prominent names in Louisiana at the time discouraged him from doing so. And so since then it's been preserved. And it was built in 1838 and served as, I wonder what these little holes are here. It served as a powder magazine for basically tens of thousands of pounds of gunpowder in the mid 1800s, and also served as a library for what was then a very brand new and newly established, or soon to be established, Louisiana State University. Check out these windows here. It's definitely like a fortress. To think this place is almost 200 years old. And that these walls could talk, huh? Around the time of the Civil War, I believe in 1861, it was almost burnt down. There's a Southern Army that was directed, or that was planning on burning it down, but the federal troops held off on that, or put a stop to that, and it remained in Union hands. At the time of the Union, forces were burning down everything down here. And as I've said before in other vlogs, you know, especially Nathaniel Banks kind of ran amok through kind of central Louisiana, like up through the bottom of Louisiana, and was burning down a lot of things. I wonder if these are just for airflow or what. I don't know what these holes are for. And unfortunately, the inside of this place is not open. And I read some reviews online. Not that I'm trying to hammer down this place or anything, or, you know, sound negative or anything, but I read other reviews online where other people drove from far away and stood in the rain and showed up on the doorstep during the times where they are supposedly open, and there was nobody here and it wasn't open. So I also read other reviews where people got to go inside and see how awesome it is in there, and that's just unfortunate. But I still feel like it's worth a vlog, you know, even though you can't get inside and see all the cool stuff inside, but the history of it's still cool. And these walls and all that, like I said, these walls could talk, man. But I was saying a while ago, not to get off track, but Nathaniel Banks and other Union troops were kind of running amok in the South, in the Confederate South, and burning down old homes, plantation homes and such, and buildings and all that. And check this out. Go these little stairs right here. Let's see if I can go up here. And sometimes things were spared. I think if they saw some value in it. I don't know if you guys can see anything when I did that. I can't really see. I had to lift my arm up there. But if the Union troops saw any value in that house, or like in this case, this building, they spared it usually. Let's see if we can see in the window here. Like squatting down to see. It kind of opens almost. Look at that. Whoa. I don't want to tear the place apart. Whoa, check that out. Well, you can kind of see in there. Trying to get the best visual I can for you guys, but it's not proving to be easy. But I guess that's all we're gonna get today, unfortunately. I'm sorry, but let's see if I don't fall down the stairs here. Okay, so It was almost burnt down. It remained in Union hands. I guess they saw that they wanted to keep it, or it could serve as an arsenal. Pretty much what it was built for. And so they spared it and didn't burn it down. And I think that was during or right around the Battle of Baton Rouge, which was during the Civil War, basically. I think it was around 1861. Without looking at it, having it in front of me, I think it was around 1861. And but yeah, it served as mostly a powder magazine. And by powder magazine, it just means it held tons of gunpowder. And I'd love to see the inside, but looks like we're not going to be able to do that today. So I hope you still found this somewhat interesting. It's a beautiful place, even though we don't get to go inside of it, but it's and as you can see, some people have left their graffiti on the walls here. I saw this in some of the other parts too. And kind of disrespectful in a way, but kind of poetic, I guess, in a way. You know, why not put it on an old historic structure that's been salvaged and spared, you know? I guess there's some beauty in that, I guess. And this gorgeous walkway from the arsenal going into the Memorial Park area here that we started the blog in, or at. It's pretty oak tree lined sidewalk here, and also crepe myrtle lined sidewalk. One more glance at the back of the arsenal there. Now these oak trees here, these could be closer to maybe 150, 200 years old, possibly. Maybe not quite that old, but probably not far from it. And I hope you guys enjoyed those two places. I was hoping maybe we could have got a little bit more in depth and more access to some, you know, maybe like an actual museum inside the places, whether in the barracks or the arsenal or both. But they don't really advertise that or such museum or museums for the Pentagon Barracks. I wasn't really expecting that. I kind of figured it'd be more just a walk around thing for the barracks, but I was expecting that we'd be able to get inside the arsenal, and I do apologize for that. I'm just as upset about that as any of you guys might be. Albeit the grounds around it are beautiful. We got to see some really cool things around it, around the front of the arsenal and the park and all that stuff, and if anything, it's some really nice visuals. But with that, I hope you guys have a great day and a great start to your weekend. Feel free to like, subscribe, and leave comments if you feel the need to or the desire to. Always love hearing from you guys. And signing off from this beautiful Veterans Memorial Park here in downtown Baton Rouge. You guys have a wonderful day. Love you all. God bless. And goodbye.